team, welcome to another episode of Ask Top, sponsored by MentorMilitary.com. I'm your host, Command Sergeant Major Retired Mark Garrett, and today we're going to discuss how to develop an NCOER Support Form, or DA Form 2166-9-1 Alpha. Now this is a two-part video series. If you have not watched part one, I would encourage you to watch part one first, as it describes the NCOER Support Form process. I'll place a link above that will take you to part one, or you can watch it after this video. I've also attached a link to a sample support form that you can review. It's in the description below. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about how to write a duty description today, because there is a method that will help make it a lot easier. And we're going to discuss how to fill out an NCOER support form, and at least one way to do it. So our references for today are 623-3, the regulation, and the DA PAM. So first, let's talk about writing a duty description. Several things you need to know. First, is it a principal duty title or leadership versus technical? What do I mean by that? Some units will, for example, let's say this individual is an ammunition specialist, sergeant first class, and instead of, but he's a platoon sergeant, but they use the MTO designation slot of ammunition sergeant. Well, when the board sees the principal duty title of ammunition sergeant, they don't immediately see leadership platoon sergeant. So if for some reason you have to put the MTO duty title in there, like ammunition sergeant, but they are actually a platoon sergeant, the first thing that needs to be in that daily duties and scope is platoon sergeant. All board members understand leadership positions: squad leader, section sergeant, fire team leader, platoon sergeant, first sergeant. They understand those terms. When they see ammunition sergeant, it doesn't equate to leadership necessarily. So make sure that you put down the leadership that someone has in their duty description. Worst case, put it down in appointed duties. Next, start with the leadership position and follow it with the number of soldiers supervised. If you notice here, we're saying platoon sergeant supervising and providing for the health and welfare of 50 soldiers. Then we talk about the type of unit and mission. As a platoon sergeant at the largest ammunition storage site in Europe, which includes 374 storage structures housing over 45,000 tons of ammunition, valued at over $1.2 billion. So that's our unit and our mission, if you will. Finish with property and accountability, quantity and value. So responsible for all aspects of ammunition operation, including receipts, turn-ins, re-warehousing, maintenance, shipment, safety, largest ammunition retrograde in USERA history, responsible for 32 pieces of rolling stock, 2 ammunition ordnance toolkits, and a total value in excess of $10 million. Following this format should get you in the ballpark of a good, solid duty description that is both measurable and quantitative. So areas of special interest and appointed duties. So for here, we're saying the areas of special interest are ammunition retrograde and an external evaluation. Appointed duties are substance abuse NCOIC and weight control NCO. So if it's listed in these areas, it better be important. If you have a leadership position as an additional duty, make sure it's listed. If it's listed, it should appear somewhere in your support form where you're taking credit for it, you're laying down specific goals for it. So now let's look at performance goals and expectations. Couple notes here. First, You're going to review your rater and senior rater support forms. Your goals and expectations should support their goals and expectations. Set reasonable goals and expectations. If you do your support form correctly, 90% of the evaluation report is written when it comes time to finalize that report. So read your rater's support form and your senior raters. If it's important to them, it better be important to you. List your overall goals and specific goals that might not fit into other categories. This could be an overflow area for additional performance objectives. And as you can see, I've put down be recognized as the best platoon in the unit, work closely with my lieutenant to ensure we synchronize our efforts, develop a strong and viable substance abuse program, take responsibility for the weight control program, and seek to reduce overall enrollees by 10%. Character. If you notice in character, we're talking about Army values, empathy, warrior ethos, discipline, fully supporting SHARP and EO. What are some of the things I should be thinking about? Okay, so in each area that we talk about, you need to take the time. Sit back, think about it, look for some examples, do some Google searching. Your objectives can be broad or specific. Do you want to generalize or be specific? It is best to underpromise and overdeliver than to say you can achieve the highest standards and fail to achieve them. I want you to think about that. Don't go claiming you can do everything great, because some raters are going to hold you to that and not allow you to modify that support form. Okay, in presence, what are we looking at? How do you carry yourself? What is your level of fitness? What will you do to improve your subordinates and your platoon or your squad? And again, this is a living document based on AR 623-3, means it can be modified as time goes along. But some raters and senior raters are going to hold you to what you wrote, and if you don't achieve it, they're going to hammer you for it. So again, underpromise and overdeliver. Here we've got some, ones that are pretty plain and simple. Sure, 95% of the platoon achieves a passing score on the AFCT. Reduce body fat from 20% to 17%. Reduce APFT failures within the platoon from 3 to 0 in 6 months. If you notice, we've gone over here and listed our significant achievements. We reduced body fat from 20% to 16%, and in 3 months, everybody was removed from the ABC program. Intellect. We're talking mental agility, sound judgment, innovation, interpersonal tact, and expertise. How will you handle yourself in difficult situations? How will you develop your subordinates to handle stress? How can you solve problems more efficiently? So what I came up with for Intellect was encourage critical thinking and innovation among members of the platoon. Why? I want to solve things. I want to become more efficient. People tend to come up with better ideas when it's a collective force. Continue to grow my career field, subject matter expertise, and use it to develop others. So we made some comments on the right side. Inclusiveness and encouragement of critical thinking resulted in ammunition retrograde being completed 3 months ahead of schedule. Became known as the SME of all things ammunition and developed the strongest leadership team in the unit. So you can see how these things start to work and flow together. You just need to spend some time thinking through each area and coming up with some leading questions to help you think through those areas. How do you lead people? Does your leadership style support the objectives you want to achieve? What are the results of how you are leading your team? How do others view your leadership style? Okay, so what did we put down for our performance objectives? Remain positive, seek solutions even under adverse conditions, synchronize activities directed by the platoon leader with subordinate leaders. So what was our achievement? Assumed responsibility of convoy operations in the absence of orders under ambush with no loss of life. Developed a series of checklists that increased platoon efficiency, later adopted by the entire unit. If you get a chance, reach down and hit the subscribe button and tell us what you think about today's presentation, or leave us a subject matter you'd like us to talk about in the future. You can go to mentormilitary.com and check out RadarQuick and Evaluator, which will also help you put together a support form. So develops. How are you motivating your soldiers to excel? What is your overall environment that you want to achieve? How do you plan to develop others? What areas do you want to focus on? So in my world, I wrote develop subordinates tactically and professionally, encourage personal development and civilian education, develop a platoon battle rhythm. Okay, so we successfully mentored 3 Audie Murphy inductees, completed associate's degree with 3.5 GPA, developed a lunchtime college course program for the platoon at the ammunition site. 12 soldiers received 9 credit hours in a 6-month period. Again, sit back and think about what you want to achieve. If you notice under develops there, it says creates a positive command workplace environment, fosters esprit de corps, prepares selves, develops others, steward of the profession. Google those things. See what you come up with. Look at some examples online. But ask yourself these open-ended questions to help you develop your performance objectives. What outcomes are you looking for? Achieves. How do you lead people? How does your leadership style support the objectives you want to achieve? What are the results of how you are leading your team? How do others view your leadership style? So, be recognized as the best platoon in the unit. Win the battalion driver rodeo competition. Achievements, only platoon and battalion to complete the command inspection with no comments, no deficiency rating. Platoon placed 3rd in battalion forklift rodeo. So that takes us through all the areas that we're responsible for on the support form. I want to cover something about the senior rater. Now the senior rater has a responsibility to initial off, and they should sit down and talk to you as well. But in the initial phase, this senior rater said, raise the standards of this platoon. It is currently the worst in the company from both a performance and disciplinary perspective. Then in a follow-up counseling, he says, I have seen exceptional improvements in the area of performance and discipline. Continue these efforts and also focus on our upcoming external evaluation. So, as I said, they need to sit down and talk to you during your initial and your follow-up. They should initial your support form. It should be returned to you so that you know your senior raters involved in the process. They should provide you purpose and direction on how to continue through the rest of the rating period. So it's a joint effort between your rater and your senior rater. So let's talk about summary. What do you do if there's a difference between duty title and duty description? When all else fails, seek that leadership position. Everybody understands a leadership position on that board. If you have to explain an ammunition sergeant, but you're a platoon sergeant, you're probably not going to get credit for your platoon sergeant time. Make sure your leadership role is out front in that duty description, preferably in that duty title, and worst case scenario in your appointed duties. Develop a duty description. We discussed that. Talk about the leadership position, the number of soldiers supervised, the type of unit and what your unit does, the equipment, quantity, and value. Additional duties and appointed duties. What are they? What do you need to achieve them? What is the impact of failing to do them? What is their current state? How can you improve them? Use your rater and senior rater support form. What's most important to them better be important to you. Take time to reflect on what each portion of the evaluation report is talking about. Come up with meaningful and achievable goals. Hey, hope you found some value today. If you would, follow us on Facebook at AskTop and at Mentor Military. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to go down in the link and get the sample support forms we're providing. And if you're looking for some professional military development products, please visit us at mentormilitary.com. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.